I wish there was something the family could watch together. There is. Who's that?
Your fairy godmother. Watch.
For a limited time, you can buy Walt Disney's Cinderella on video cassette. And to celebrate, Crest Toothpaste is having a special offer.
They'll love it.
Dick Tracy, the movie is in theaters. The game is at McDonald's.
Now, when your parents order any pizza or Pepsi, you can get a glow-in-the-dark hand puppet from the movie Casper.
And from the movie Days of Thunder come the Thunder Racers from Hardee's.
Back in the day, movie studios commissioned toys to promote their films. But in 2023, we've crossed a portal into Bizarro world. Movies themselves have become promotional tie-ins for the toys, brands, and even snacks. The list ranges from Barbies to Beanie Babies, from handheld games to handheld mobile phones to handheld sneakers. That's without mentioning video games or car brands. Is it bleak? Yes. Is there a silver lining? Maybe. What if I told you that movies about brands are the most exciting addition to Hollywood in the past 100 years?
What did he just say? Yes.
Well, I'd be lying. Despite all the great marketing behind Flaming Hot, the film itself didn't set the highest of standards. However, it's not the worst film of the year about a prepackaged snack.
Kellogg's. When you hear it, it's more than a name.
Unfrosted was bad.
Borscht Loops.
Really bad.
Crumlins. Count Vodkulas.
But Richard Roper said it best. Unfrosted is so consistently awful, it makes Flaming Hot seem like The Social Network.
Oy vey.
But where's that silver lining, you ask? Well, Barbie's one. The first film of the MCU, Mattel Cinematic Universe, is atop most lists of the best films of the year. But enough has been said about Barbie. This new trend has produced outstanding cinema. Pinball is pretty good. It stars Mike Feist sporting a most compelling mustache. Apparently he stole it from the Lost and Found at SNL's office and glued it on himself.
It's good. It's really good.
True story. As Mike Feist in facial hair goes, he's only second to Zendaya playing his beard in Challengers. The movie itself is a feel-good story about the man who got the lawmakers to lift the ban on the game in New York.
That is a game of choices.
It's entertainment cinema at its finest, and it was a pleasure to watch the filmmakers squeezing out every ounce of metaphorical meaning out of the game.
What do I aim for?
What do you want?
Deep, deep stuff. Another highlight is Tetris, a surprisingly tense and entertaining Cold War thriller about the fight for the rights acquisition of the game. Well, some parts are more tense than others. Air, like Flaming Hot, is also comparable to The Social Network, but unlike Flaming Hot, those comparisons can be made in earnest.
How you doing, Brandon? I'm Sonny Vaquero. I'm with Nike. It's good to see you. I'll come down and say hello.
Sure, on one level, Air is just a 2-hour ad for Nike.
I know, Nike. Just get the shit over with.
But on another level, it is a terrifically written, acted, and directed 2-hour ad for Nike. But going back to that Social Network comparison, Air is about this group of visionaries who changed their business forever.
It's not a coincidence.
In fact, most of these films are descendant of this Sorkin cult of the disruptor. They're always about someone who sees untapped potential in their industry, whether it's video games, potato chip flavors, whether it's breakfast foods, or even plush toys.
Let's start our own business, you and me. A stuffed Himalayan cat business.
But among this crop, Tetris and Air do something unique. They finally put a spotlight on the real heroes behind the shoe.
I think I'm going to be remembered.
The executives.
Nah.
Is it the executives?
No, Mars.
Is it the shoes?
No, Mars.
Is it the executives?
No, Mars.
It's gotta be the executives!
I think I've done something impressive.
But the best film in this whole crop of IP/brand movies is Blackberry.
Mike Lazaridis, CEO of Research in Motion.
Adam Neyman points out that although this broad historical comedy is very much comparable to The Social Network, it might be closer to something like the Coen brothers inside Llewyn Davis. Quote, a tragic comic picaresque, but the guys who ended up being nothing more than the opening act for the iPhone.
Fixed in plastic.
Why would anybody want a phone without a keyboard?
The difference between BlackBerry and those other films is measured in dollar signs. Air Jordan brings in $4 billion a year for Nike. Tetris sold 500 million games, and Flaming Cheetos is $1 billion brand. In this sea of film with multinational conglomerates patting themselves on the back, BlackBerry is the one exception where history belongs to the losers. The film ends on a poignant note. Lazaridis is a tech whiz obsessed with mechanical perfection.
Made in China. The mark of the beast.
We're not moving to fucking China.
The arrival of the iPhone makes him betray his ideals and opt for cheap manufacturing.
Still don't know where this gets done. I'm sorry, China.
The last shot is reminiscent of Raiders of the Lost Ark. After fixing one phone, he's left with 1 million defective BlackBerries. It's powerful, definitely a story worth telling, as argued by the teller of the story, Matt Johnson. Quote,
What?
we do live in a world where the products that have been invented have changed the way that we live. You can be cynical about it and be like, oh, this is so stupid. Why are we celebrating this? But then look in the mirror. Are you using a smartphone? This is true to some degree, but to some degree, the opposite is also true. Again, Matt Johnson, quote, the cynical answer is that the intellectual property chain of title on all these products is a lot easier to pitch to money people. And because everything is about IP, you're either basing a movie on an article or a book or something. Of course, the people at CAA and William Morris, etc. were like, well, wait a minute, what about products?
They got a fruit-filled pastry, dingus.
Dingus?
This is just the beginning of what is probably going to be a flood, provided there's a market interest. And market interest there is.
Beyblade toy and anime franchise and create a live-action feature.
Her next big project is Monopoly.
It's a milestone moment for Mattel.
$300.8 million.
Live-action Barbie movie.
A multi-year strategy.
A Clue film.
The goal no longer seems to be for the movies themselves to make money, but for movies to fit the brand's marketing strategy. The cynic in me fears that corporate culture has already taken over.
Okay.
Movies like Air and especially Tetris scare me the most. Leave it to Hollywood to make a biopic around the making of Tetris that completely belittles Alexei Pajitnov, the actual creator of the game, and focuses instead on the guy who got the rights to distribute Tetris on handheld devices.
What?
What a hero. Like Esther Rosenfeld points out, it's like making a movie called Mona Lisa, but it's about an art dealer who has to sell the painting so he can make his mortgage payment. But at the beginning, I promised a silver lining, and I found at least two. First is that these films are creating a minor comeback for the middle budget film, which has been knocking on heaven's door since Marvel took over cinema. But the main silver lining is that, despite everything, the people making these films will continue to be artists. Artists like Greta Gerwig and Matt Johnson, who made Barbie and BlackBerry. Lena Dunham is making a comeback with Polly Pocket. Daniel Kaluuya is set to produce Barney. Tom Hanks is playing the leading role in Major Matt Mason. And if J.J. Abrams tells me that Hot Wheels will be emotional and grounded and gritty, I want to believe him. And maybe a Pichapong Weerasakito will sign up to direct Uncle Ben who can recall his past rises. Sorry. Jia Zhangke will make A Touch of Sin. Edward Yang's Yo-Yo. There's Yorgos Lanthimos' The Red Lobster. Joe Wright's The Thin Mint. There will be Bud. Paris Lexus. The House That Jack in the Box Built. Derry Queen of Earth. This is WD-40. Jeremiah Johnson and Johnson. Yeah, I think that's enough.